Thank you so much, Mr. K, all the way from Gabs. Wow. So this guy has been wanting this session for a very long time. And I kept on saying, oh, Kenny, my headspace is not there yet. He kept on asking. And here we are. So thanks so much for driving all the way, but also for being patient as well, to come and do the session. The Vuka Board. When did we start this thing? I forgot.
2012.
2012, ne?
Yeah, that's 2012.
Yeah, that's how way back.
It's been running.
Yeah. So, the goal really is to sit down with entrepreneurs and to have discussions about their businesses, what the challenges are, where the gaps are, and where the areas of improvements could be. So we sort of take a deep dive into your business, obviously with your permission, but also with your vulnerability to be open. And the idea is not to impress us, but is to be honest so that we can also give you honest feedback. So, you know me, Rosh, Anto, and Dr. Mloy, focusing on different skills. I'm more the numbers guy, unfortunately.
Very important. Very important.
When we talk numbers, it's like a dentist. No one likes numbers.
Master.
Yeah, they say the most depressive profession is dentist. Like, your clients are always not happy to see you.
Yes.
Anto is more marketing, tech also. And Dr. Mdo is more operations, quality control. So we sort of look at that. The basic agenda really is the first few minutes, you sort of tell us about yourself, your entrepreneurial journey, what business are you running. I know you've got multiple businesses, and so the first few minutes is for you to take us through that. And then after that, we'll then ask some questions and we'll share some thoughts. But remember, the idea is to advise is not to impose ourselves. It's just to sort of say, from where I'm sitting, this is how, I think you can approach the situation. So, it's an open forum, and we are, open to hear what you have to offer or to talk about. So over to you. So, okay, I know you, I think that Amlo knows you, but Anto doesn't.
Yeah.
And, this guy, when I met him, he was working. But he will tell us, he was working. And now he's this thriving entrepreneur.
Oh.
Mr. K, over to you.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, it is true. I've been looking forward to come here and sit before the board and a request of the assistance that I could get. Most of that now, business is growing. And we adding people, figures are also adding up. I really need to, there's a lot of scaling up. So we need to start running the business professionally now. Because I see we're getting overwhelmed because we are limited, we are restricted because of knowledge. There's certain things that we really can't figure out. And we need an oversight. You need someone who's always reminding you of this or taking you this direction and so on and so forth. We need that. Otherwise, I started, I attended the programs, I think 3 of them. I think I started in 2020. Then when I started, I was still working for a hospital. I'm a pharmaceutical scientist by profession. I was still working for a hospital, and my area of interest was cancer, but I'm no longer doing those things now. Then I always had a hunger and a thirst to become an entrepreneur, but I needed someone who would activate and kindle that spark. And God is good, because I met Dr. Roche through some guy who had full information, and he wanted to enroll, but he did not enroll. But he's also a big entrepreneur now. He's big. I think he's bigger than me. So I keep telling him, you need that. You need. So I think he will come. He will come in soon. So then.
Is this the guy in Lesotho?
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
I know that you were doing some stuff in Lesotho. But
it is the guy in Lesotho. He's running some chicken. What do you call this? But he sells dry packs. Yeah, he's big. I think I can't remember the figures, but he's big. So now, then I went through the programs. They really, they opened my eyes. I became a better person. And I dived in deeply into business thereafter. The reason why I'm saying now, I don't do a lot of clinical work, though I still like it. I was very committed, but I'm wholeheartedly sold into the idea of business at the moment. So when I started with an FMCG company, which is called Chemmed Healthcare. We are in that space. We sell to supermarkets. So we've got wonderful products. One of our recent products, I don't know if you know, Lipsano. Lipsano for lip care.
Okay.
This, yeah.
Okay.
There's a range. The manufacturer is in Durban.
So you supply them with this?
Then that company in Botswana. That company is called Avid Brands.
Okay.
So I represent them in Botswana. They've given me the whole of Botswana, but I want to move on to Namibia as well.
Okay.
So well, that one is old. It's finished.
But this is what you supply.
Yeah. It's quite beautiful. It's beautiful. So supermarkets. Well, I've just started with them. My first order. They are. I've been talking to that guy today, asking him about when the product is coming. My first order is coming after Easter.
Okay.
The truck load is coming after Easter. Okay. But it's an order. There are already supermarkets that are that are waiting to receive that order. So but we do a lot of products. It's for supermarkets. Consumables, not food. Not food. We don't do food, but we do cosmetics. We do supermarket medicine. That's how we call it, Schedule 4. I'm not sure whether it's Schedule 4. Okay. Yeah, your Bostals, Panados, and all those things. We sell them to supermarkets. Whole lot of things, but not food. We don't do food. So it was not easy. It was not easy, but I must say supermarkets have been very supportive. Some are not. Some are not. I think we still have issues of race, especially supermarkets that come from South Africa. It's a problem. I'm talking about ShopRite, Pick n Pay, Spar. Those ones are big. But we have our own. We have our Sefalana, we have our Choppies, Force. Those ones are very supportive. Okay. But these ones, if you come as a black man, I'm talking race now. If you come as a black man, it's difficult. But if you change skin, if you assume a different skin, then you go through. So, but we are not giving up. We're still knocking on those doors. But we are happy with the kind of business that we do at the moment. So that company, we are also converting it this year in 2024 into a pharmaceutical distribution company. Meaning that we are now going to be providing services to the government that's tenders, and also to the private space, which would be your pharmacies, private hospitals, and so on and so forth, clinics. We would still be doing FMCG, but it will be registered now as a pharmaceutical distribution company. Reason being that there's more value in the pharmaceutical space than anywhere else. And we also have been able to secure key suppliers. I've been outside the country to various countries. Manufacturers, I've met with manufacturers, I've signed deals. So there are people that I represent now, and they are really pushing me that stuff, especially the cancer oncology sector. There's a big company, there's a big manufacturer that they've asked me to circulate, to distribute their cancer products in Botswana. So this year that has to happen. Now that's Chemmed healthcare. Now I went ahead to establish a pharmacy, my first pharmacy. Good location, one of the biggest malls in Gaborone called Game City. We set it up at an existing clinic, and the clinic was already seeing numbers. And there were also other supporting services. There's a dental service, there's physiotherapy, there's lab, there are doctors, but pharmacy was missing. Unfortunately, the clinic is run by a friend of mine, a doctor, a friend of mine. So I approached him, spoke to him, say, I'm interested in setting up a pharmacy. Yeah. We are looking for that. So you see a doctor next door, then the other side is a pharmacy. That's where they get. So it's like one-stop shop. So it's beautiful. We set up the numbers short. We went even higher. We see about 200 patients per day, every single day. I think, in as far as I'm concerned, that's for a pharmacy to run, that's good. Because my minimum, wherever I set up, and I set up in clinics, wherever I set up, my minimum is 50 patients per day. If I don't get 50, I don't set up, because that's not going to be profitable through experience. So now that we are at 200, I'm happy. And beginning this April, adjacent to the clinic, we used to have a restaurant, a big vibey restaurant, big space, but they moved out to a different location. So the clinic has assumed that big space. So the pharmacy has also, we've also expanded in terms of the structure. So we are getting twice as because what we were doing dispensary only. We do not have space for a front shop. You know, a pharmacy would have a dispensary and a front shop, but we now have a front shop. So I've learned over time that what actually creates value at the front shop more than the dispensary. So we are happy. I believe our profits are going to double, if not triple. So that's starting this April.
When you say starting, you mean the expansion?
The assuming the space.
Yeah.
Working from that space. Okay. I just want to show you because the carpenter Albert sent me this design just yesterday. You can go through the pics. Just yesterday he sent me those designs for the dispensary in the front shop. Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So this will be the first pharmacy with the shop front?
Not necessarily.
Okay,
I'm gonna come to others.
Yeah, you see there's a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is both the front and the dispensary.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. The white cupboards, it's the dispensary. Yeah, the others is the front shop. And the good thing is, Chemmed Healthcare that sells, that caters for FMCG is going to sell. We are actually selling stuff to this. Now that the portfolio has increased, even our portfolio as Chemmed is good. So we're going to be selling to this pharmacy a lot of stuff. Yeah. So it's money with circulating within the same hands.
Yeah.
So now, the second one, we set up the second one at a place called Pakalane. Okay, this one is called Carewell Pharmacy. Carewell, yeah. So one guy approached me who also runs a clinic. He also owns a lab, a very big lab, one of the biggest labs in Gaborone. he approached me to say, look, I set up a clinic. We've got doctors there and a lab, but we need a pharmacy. I moved in. And that pharmacy is called Lifeline Pharmacy. It's at a big suburb, the biggest suburb in Gaborone called Matlanyane. So we see high profile patients there.
That one is called
Lifeline Pharmacy. It's quite a beautiful space. Well, we just set up recently, October last year. So we're still pushing. We haven't gotten there yet, but second week of April, we have a big activation in that area. We've got a big activation so that people get to know about our presence. And there's also an industrial area close by, big industrial area. So we're hoping people from those firms would come through in the residential area and also the town. So we're having a big activation, and we've invited quite a lot of people and organizations, including Vision Active will be there with gymnasium, sound, and all that. So we believe after that, and we're working on marketing as in boards by the main road. We are going to put in boards for visibility sake, but at the moment we've just bought a big light board. Do I have the pics? I think I have the pics somewhere. If I didn't delete, I keep deleting. Let me do this first. Yeah, I have the pics here. This is the clinic if you keep running. If you keep running it. If you keep scrolling.
So is this the one where you have the activation?
That's, yes. The Lifeline Pharmacy.
Okay.
Is it ground floor?
Ground floor.
Okay.
Upstairs it's the lab.
Okay.
If you keep scrolling, it will give you a good idea of what it looks like. So
And it's a 24-hour clinic.
That's a 24-hour.
That means the pharmacy also opens 24.
we are not yet there. We close at 8, but that is the plan.
8
But
in the evening.
in the evening, sure. But the one at Game City is at 10 o'clock. We run from 8 to 10 p.m.
Okay.
But this one it is still 8. But we are planning by the end of the year to convert the pharmacy into a 24-hour pharmacy. And that will be the only one. And it's a point of competition because the pharmacies around there are about 1 to 3 other pharmacies in the same area, but they close early, around 8 o'clock. Yeah. So if we open after hours, then it's going to be advantageous for us. Then there's another one in City Care in Francistown. Francistown is 400 km from Gaborone. I was also invited by the doctor there. The doctor there also owns the building. He runs the clinic. He's a surgeon. It's a surgery. He performs surgeries within the clinic. He's got theaters within the clinic. It's quite an interesting space. Then he asked me to take over the pharmacy. I took over the pharmacy. So, but I don't have the peaks. It has a front shop. It's quite a beautiful space. There's also an empty space that I've requested to convert it into a lab. So I also want to use the space for a lab, and he said yes. The lab, I really have to take time with the lab because I'm trying to concentrate here, but eventually, by the end of the year, maybe the lab would be up and running. The lab is more profitable, it's more lucrative than compared to the pharmacy. Okay. Because the pharmacy is you deal with stock. So the money that you get, part of it goes back to stock. But the lab, it's service. The little things that you need to buy are reagents. They're not expensive. It's not a big thing. They're not bulky. Small reagents. So I think my costs regarding the lab would be equipment. Lab equipment is expensive. To set up a medical lab is quite expensive, but I've struck a deal with one company. They run 2 contracts. It's either they sell to you or they they hire the equipment to you, then at a small fee.
Okay.
For the contract is 5 years. After that, you either decide. I think we would have made enough money to buy our own equipment after 5 years. So they've given us that opportunity to set up their equipment within. And while that's not my space, I'm not knowledgeable in that space. So I've asked someone to partner, as a lab scientist, to partner with. And the guy is good and he's quite happy with it. So at the moment we are doing designs within, but we are not pushing it really. I'm taking my time. Then the last acquisition, it's a pharmacy that I've just registered recently. It's called Greenstone, and I named it after Greenstone here, up here. Yeah, it's Greenstone. I was also invited by a doctor. He sees 80 patients per day. That's a good number for me. Remember, I said my minimum is 50, and he sees 80 patients per day. And he used to be, for 13 years, he used to work within an army camp. He was he was seeing army guys, soldiers. Then until he decided to set up his own. So they like him, so they still come back to him. Yeah, he just set up just closer to the camp. So he's big there, very reputable. And just across the road, there's a mini shopping complex setting up. I think in the next 2 months we should be running. So here's a Falana and other shops. So there's going to be a good foot traffic. Yeah, already the numbers are high, but now the shopping complex is also going to bring a lot of people. It's at a place called Matlanyane. So it's quite a big space. We have a dispensary there and a front shop. So what we are doing at the moment, next week, there are guys who are going to give us a quotation we are renovating, we're revamping the whole place. So we're putting in new tiles, painting, ceilings. After that, then we do the design work where we're going to fit in shelves, then stock, then we start.
Okay.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, that's where I am now at the moment. So I mean, I'm entirely in the pharmaceutical sector space, retail, which are pharmacies, but I'm slowly moving into distribution. Yeah, my ultimate goal is to open a manufacturing entity, which is what I trained in, but that's a high investment. We're talking 50 million upwards, minimum 50 million. That's a high investment, but I know it's reachable. It's a reachable goal, because we don't have any manufacturing entity in Botswana.
Okay.
So the billions from the government that are allocated to that space, a good chunk of them come here in South Africa and also to other countries. Well, my motivation is not to make money per se, and these businesses are family businesses. So I have a daughter who just completed school. She did a degree in marketing, so she's part of the business. There's another one who this year, August, he'll be starting a B.Pharm degree, so eventually he'll become a pharmacist.
Okay.
So it's gonna help. And another one also is about to start very soon. She says she wants to be a doctor, so she'll help us with setting clinics. So my strategy is, I don't do standalone pharmacies. I set up in a clinical space because I want to guarantee that there's a flow of scripts. There's always a flow of scripts. I don't want to see people's pharmacies waiting for scripts from elsewhere coming in. I don't think that works. So there are people who still do that, but I believe it's not my space. I want to set up within a clinic. So wherever I see an opportunity and it's within clinic space and the numbers are 50 upwards, I set up.
Okay, so I mean, thanks for that. I think it's quite comprehensive. So for now, there's 3 pharmacies.
Yes.
With the 4th one, when is the 4th one?
It should be running by June.
By June.
Looking at the issues of regulation and compliance, they usually take time.
Okay.
In June, yes.
And the first one, Eco Game City,
Yes, sir.
it's the dispensary, but no front shop yet. You are now only
Yeah.
going to assume.
Yeah, the front shop.
And then the one in Pakalani is dispensary and
Dispensary only.
dispensary only.
Yes.
No front shop.
No front shop.
Any prospects of a front shop? Not.
I don't think so. The space is limited.
Okay.
The space is very limited.
Okay.
It's dispensary only.
Okay. And then in terms of, I mean, you are the founder, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who do you work with? I know you say it's a family business, but you are the only sole owner. You know, who's running the shops?
All right. So Chemmed Healthcare, the distribution company. My wife runs it, but I'm the head of the company. She does the operations. She's on daily basis. She's the one running around and making sure that there's business. But I also help her a lot. 2 pharmacies, like Pakalani and Game City. I have a partner there.
A partner.
Yeah. Francistown, so it's a family business. Yeah. Where it's ideal to have partners, I don't have a problem. There would be reasons why we need partners. The guy that Game City, I needed the license. He had the license already, and I couldn't get the license. I couldn't secure the license, but he had it already. So it made it very easy for us. And I was coming straight from the hospital. Hospital pharmacy and retail pharmacy are 2 different spaces. So I didn't have the experience, and the guy had been there a long time. So he brought his experience, the license, of course, and the money. Then we push him together, and he's quite good. I'm happy with him.
And then Greenstone?
I'm still with him.
Oh, it's still partnership?
Yeah. Okay. But we have an agreement that he also runs his own companies with his family. We have an agreement that we are free to do whatever we want to do. Yeah. Like the lab that I'm going to open in Francistown. By the way, I've forgotten another one. The lab that we are going to run in Francistown, I'm running that lab. It's not part of the lab.
Okay.
Yeah. The Game City, Carewell Pharmacy, Game City. There's a big lab in Botswana. It's called Technofam. So what they do, they are model. They have a lab where they have equipment. They are big, they're huge. But in clinics, they set up small offices and they call them collection points. That's where they collect blood and send them to headquarters. So they have a collection point in our clinic. But I've spoken to the head doctor to say, I want to set up a lab here. And he said, yes, go ahead. But it's not going to be now because I need to focus on one project at a time. Yeah. So I'm going to be on my own there.
Yeah. Okay. And how many people are employed in all the pharmacies so far?
Game City, it's 5. Game City is 5. I'm sure it's 5 plus 3. We need now it's 5, but we need 2 cashiers who are going to be doing a shift work in April, like next week. We need 2 cashiers. We also need 2 shop assistants for the front shop. So that's going to shoot from 5 to 9 at Game City. The Pakalani, there are few there. There are 2, there are only 2. It's pharmacists only.
Yeah, because it's just dispensary.
Dispensary, yeah. In
Francistown,
it's 2 pharmacists. It's 2 pharmacists and a pharmacy technician. It's my daughter who's doing administrative work. It's my daughter, 2 cashiers, and 2 there are 8, and shop has 2 assistants. So Greenstone we're not sure yet, but I think it will be between 7 and 8 and 10. 7 and 10 Greenstone.
Okay, so more or less 15 people now.
16, 17, with him and his wife.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because oh, you mean now? Let's say Game City has started, because next week the numbers are increasing for next week. So let's say Game City and Francistown, let's say 8, 16.
Yeah.
Plus 2 that side. Let's say 20.
20. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 and that side for my wife, she's the only one at the moment because it's a distribution company.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there isn't much to do.
Yeah.
If you acquire stock, she sends it away. So we hire part-time drivers. Yeah.
Okay.
But we have a delivery van.
Yeah.
So she does ordering and distribution.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges that you are experiencing with the business? If you were to say the board is to help you.
Yes. My main the gaps that I have, because in all these businesses I'm the head. Even where we run partnerships, I remain the head. So eyes are on me to give direction. So systems and processes, it's my big thing. Financially, because we don't have an accountant yet, financial statements, cash flow statement, profit and loss, income statement, balance sheet, interpretation of those and constructing them. I think they run a business. If you have that, then you have a business. So I know how much I'm making and how much but I need some form of recording. Yeah, not doing this through my head.
You know it.
Yeah, I know because I follow the figures every single day.
Yeah.
But it's too much, especially when I'm getting overwhelmed. That's number one. The finance part of it. I really need a system. I need a system.
Yeah.
HR stroke labor. There are issues there. Selection, recruitment, how do you make the best recruitment? And how do you, things like, I've had a lot of disciplinary hearings, having to let others go. How do you go about those things without them causing you trouble? Things around, disciplinaries in HR, purely HR. Everything about HR. Managing people's management, marketing, how do we, of course there are restrictions, but we still have a way of doing it. Restrictions are you don't market prescription medicines, but you can market the name of the company. You can market the company and also the front shop. What channels to use and all those things. How do we go about it? And so that's marketing. Operations, I don't quite have a problem because I deal with people who are knowledgeable. Pharmacists, they already know what to do. Yeah, but basically, general systems of running a company. That's my main thing. My tools in the office. What do I do? To make sure that the company runs well. But it's still okay. It's profitable. But I see that I'm reaching a saturation point. Soon I'm gonna forget some things. I'm gonna overlook some things. Payrolls. How do you do a payroll? To know how much payroll. I believe a payroll prepares you to construct a pay slip and things like that.
Yeah. Sure. Thanks for that. I mean, it's quite a lot.
Yes, sir.
And I think maybe I must just put it out at the outset that, to deal with all these issues,
Yes, sir.
it won't take one session.
Precisely.
So it's going to be a number of sessions, taking it one step at a time. But I think, Kelly, from where I'm sitting and having known you for a while, I think you've done very well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs, when they jump ship and they leave formal employment and straight into entrepreneurship,
Yes, sir.
within the time space that you have been in business, you have actually achieved quite a lot. A lot of them struggle to make sales, break even, and things like that. So it might be you are not struggling because, of course, you've got the technical experience, you're working, but of course, because you went to Laura,
Yes.
Yeah.
So but I think, having achieved what you have achieved is quite a major achievement. It's quite remarkable. But the issues that you just mentioned now are issues that are experienced by a lot of entrepreneurs whose business is now, growing at an exponential rate like you are doing. If you are running one pharmacy, chances are you would have managed to deal with all these issues.
Precisely.
If it was one pharmacy. But you have managed to scale it, so quickly, and everything comes to you. And I think Dr. Moloi will talk to systems and processes, because my sense is we're gonna have to go back to the basics. We're gonna have to go back to the basics and build from there. Until we'll talk about the marketing aspect of it, because I think you are sitting at a huge. I'm thinking franchise, for instance. We here at home we have your Discam and your clicks type of a thing. So you want to be able to brand your pharmacies with a common name and push that so that it becomes a household name. Books, I'll talk to books. Again, we're gonna then assume normal basics. Your software that you need to have, the cash book that you need to run, cashing up, type of a thing. And I think the three of us, we can also talk to, and Dr. Mlo can also talk to systems and processes for HR as well. Of course, the labor laws in gaps is different to here, but I'm sure there are basic fundamentals that we can talk to. Pay sleep, disciplinary hearing processes, and then, if there's time, leadership also, because you now need to assume the role of a leader, because what type of a vision are you setting up for your team? What's your leadership style, and how do you micromanage, or do you and what are the how has that worked out for you? So it's quite a lot. We'll try and sort of do justice to that, but my sense is it's going to be quite a lot for one session. It's going to be quite a lot for one session, and we don't want to dump information on you, like boom, and we walk away. We want to sort of be able to sort of say, okay, this is enough, go implement, let's talk about it next month, and take it one step at a time. Yeah. So let me, because I think the bulk of it is operations. I think that's the foundation. Where you are now, if you don't have proper systems, you're going to collapse. Physically, it's going to take a toll on you. Yeah. So I mean, Dr. Muloi will obviously sort of share his views. I will jump in here and there, but I think the bulk of, if you need to, I mean, you're setting up a new shop now. By that time, systems should be
in place.
Just copy and paste from the others and just customize.
Thanks, Kenyan. I think it's a quite great job has been done, but the problem with it is that a rapid expansion like what you are having, it's a very dangerous thing for a business. When people look at it from outside, it's something to envy. He had only one pharmacy, now he's got three. Look, there's four. So people look at it and they see the success of it. But the reality of it is that it's the most dangerous thing for a business, because that's where a business either makes it or breaks it. So that's why that controlled growth, usually it's a strategy that many companies will take, right? But we are here now and we are opening, and there is a need, and also we don't want to lose out on an opportunity that is there. We want to establish as quickly as we can so that we are able to spread ourselves in that. But what we don't want to do, we don't want to set up or multiply a problem, because once the problem starts happening, you are going to see what you are going to struggle with from pharmacy A. It's going to just replicate itself through all the pharmacies and that, because then it becomes a system issue. So that's one thing that we want to look at. So the point to start is franchise modeling. So what we do is that we look and say, what is the ideal pharmacy? How should the ideal pharmacy look like? Right? And let's start first in that branding. So the most important thing for me now, it's gonna have to be going back and branding this pharmacies as one.
Yeah.
So what is the name of this pharmacy we're talking about, right? Now, the technicalities of it when it comes to the family-owned ones and the partnership ones are going to be key there. You have to come up with a model there. I don't know what is the percentages in terms of ownerships. So if we've got 3 that are owned with a partner, perhaps there we can have a common name. But here is one that is owned by the family. Do we make it does it franchise on the name? Or do the ones with the partner franchise on the name that the family one has? But you want to come to a stage where you want to create a space where when someone talks about a great service that I received from a certain pharmacy, you want that name to be a resounding name in Botswana. So you want people to say, you know what, I buy from such a pharmacy. They are amazing. That already eases the fight throughout all the other pharmacies. So when you open a new shop, people just go rushing there because they already have had a positive story of the name. So that's what we want to create. So in that, when we have created this particular business, this particular pharmacy, what we then do is that we now need to establish the look of it. What are our colors? What is the logo of this pharmacy? When people talk about it, because remember, what builds a business is the brand. So when we speak immediately about Coca-Cola, everybody knows how Coca-Cola is written. You go everywhere. Even if someone wrote their name with the Coca-Cola font, we are going to recognize that it's a Coca-Cola font. So that's what we want to create. Then we would have created a business. Now, after we create this product, now, what are the processes that we run in this? So I want us to go and have a manual. So we are going to call it an operations manual. Right. Now, our operations manual is going to talk about So when we open a new store, or when there is a request or an invite for a store, what is the first action that we take to activate? So that will say the first thing that we do always when someone speaks to us about a shop, or when we identify a need for the shop, this is the first action that we take. This is the second action. This is the third. So that whole A to Z of what happens from the date that there is an interest of the store up to the opening of or the cutting of the ribbon when the store opens, that needs to be documented clearly to say what kicks in when what happens, and we write it step A to Z of what comes and what follows what. After we do that, we say, okay, now all that has happened, the store has been set up. How do we now, inside the store, how would we have employed people? How do we run now these people? How do they come in the morning? What do they sign? How do we record their absenteeism? How do we record the leave? Do we have a leave form when people are asking for form? What is our procedure of disciplinary? When you have done, which are the instances where it's an immediate dismissal? So when a pharmacist has given someone wrong medication, done the sleep and that, we don't even need to go into warnings and that. This could be an immediate dismissal. He could have caused the death. So we need then to go and categorize those things. Now we are aware. We are now talking HR. So what are these things? What does our labor laws say in terms of disciplinaries? Is it first verbal warning, second verbal warning, third verbal warning, or then it goes to a written warning? How many written warnings before we need to go into a disciplinary hearing and dismiss? So all those things needs to be in that very particular quality manual or operations manual. So we're talking about that. And then we come to the issue of marketing. So the marketing and the branding would have said, what are the boards that are needed when you open the store? From the opening of the store, which boards needs to be where? And what color schemes? How is our front shop supposed to look like? So what you showed on those pictures in the front shop, you want that particular design to be a replicated design in all your shops. What makes KFC works? What makes McDonald's works? Because you can get into McDonald's in South Africa and get into McDonald's in China. When you get into the store, you know where to go. Because the store is similar. Everything is the same. So you want to create, and that's why I was saying we are now going to do the franchise modeling. Because we need to build a same store in Francistown, a same store in Pakalane, a same store in Game City. You want this store to look the same. Now, when this store looks the same inside, our branding has been achieved. Because when a person comes, even if a person was going to go to your competition, but when they see your shop, they know exactly that I know where things stay in that pharmacy. I won't have to go and ask people. I know exactly where to find it. And people will always go to what they are familiar with. Okay, so we need to create that. So now it will be HR, and our processes would be able to say, how do we even get to paying salaries? So we look at the attendance of people to work. After that attendance, then there's a form that is filled in from HR perspective that goes to finance in order for finance to then input the salaries, input leave, deduct on leave days that needs to be deducted on. And then after that is signed, and then the pay slips are given. After the pay slips are given, then the salary comes. Because between the period of the pay slips and the salaries, there need to be a number of days so that whatever corrections that needs to happen, the employees can be able to see those come back and say, oh, this and that is not right in my pay slip. And then it can be fixed before even we go into salaries. Right. So all those processes, they need to be processes in that particular operations manual. So in your operations manual, you then have what is called procedures, which look into the department. So what are the procedures? We've got supporting procedures, HR, marketing, finance. Those are procedures that are supporting your core process, which is a pharmaceutical dispensary and then sales, right? So that's your core business. But you have got supporting functions such as IT as well, falls in those, so when we have got those, and under those procedures, you've got processes. So the processes in HR will be saying employment, disciplinary, salaries, so you'd have those, and you'd have leave as well. Under leave, you'll have the different ones. So those are processes under these procedures. That's what we need to go into. Now, what then becomes very important for me is that at this stage, if you haven't done it, the first thing that you need to do when you get back is to make sure that your employees have got employment contracts and they have got job descriptions. Very clear job descriptions on what is it that every person does in that, because it becomes very difficult to start getting rid of people that are dead within your business if they don't have their their job descriptions. So let's make sure those contracts and everything is there. From the strategy side now, or perhaps before we get out of operations, I would like you to start considering setting up the business for ISO certification. And the only reason for your ISO 9000 certification is that you want an outside eye that comes to check on your systems, your operational systems every year to say, yes, you are still following what you need to follow. Because when we don't have that third eye that comes in to audit us, we become very complacent on things. So you want to have that eye. Now, from the strategy view, and that is that I want you to start looking at succession planning. When you told me that this business, I'm the head of the business, and in all this ones and that, I started cringing for only one reason. Should, and God forbid it, should you be hit by a bus and that business is hit by a bus with you, the family is left with nothing. And especially in an African perspective, we seem to have this belief that the lack of the business is with the founder, and when the founder is gone, the business collapses. The only reason that the business collapses when the founder is gone is because the founder never set up the business to survive him or to survive her, right? So that's what we need to look at. So start looking at succession planning. In my absence, who is going to be in that role? Who is going to be? And start also rendering yourself useless in that business. What do I mean by that? Start getting people in positions in the business to the point that you wake up in the morning and feel like you don't have a job at the company. And then your job will be to lead them, right? So at this moment, you are still going to work. So put people in position, capacitate them to the point that you render yourself unemployed. And once you've done that, you will then be able to fulfill the role that you are supposed to fulfill of leading them in this business. So let's look urgently on that succession planning. And also the most important thing is that in that operations manual, one of the things that needs to start being very prominent is your expansion plan. I realize that there's a great opportunity of expansion at this moment. We don't want to lose that opportunity, but also we don't want that expansion to be dangerous on us. And I like you already have said, if I've got less than 50 people coming in, I'm not opening. But what are other things that we need to consider? And in that expansion plan, they need to say exactly which areas am I looking at expanding to? Where am I heading? And also you need to start looking into things like what works easier. Also, when you expand too far, you see, it works very great that when you start expanding, your expansion is concentrated. So you are able to make it work. If you expand too thinly and you've got one shop here and one shop there and one shop, so you are now getting into a space where you need to really travel long distances between your shops. And when you travel long distances between your shops, it starts eating up on your time, on the resources, and that how are we able to, to feed off from all the shops? How does one benefit from another? And that? So in that expansion plan, it then guides our expansion to sit and say, if I get an opportunity for 3 different stores, how do I assess which opportunity to take first? Which opportunities do I park, and why do I park those opportunities? So for me, those are the things that are extremely important at this time in that business. You are already owning almost the entire value chain. That puts you in a very good space. And remember now, the success of Chemmed also really relies on setting up pharmacies with the front shop. So also when you look at this, also start making that a priority. We want 50 people at least, but we also want a space that has got a front shop, because we must also think Chemmed as well in our expansion in that. So at the moment, we are already losing opportunity in 3 of our pharmacies where Chemmed is not really, when I look on 2 that are really dispensary only, we've already lost an opportunity there which Chemmed could be having. So that expansion plan, let's be very clear with that as well. So I think for me, and that it's a very lot of things to do at once. But I think what I would like to see in our next engagement is the skeleton structure of it. To sit and say, what is our core business? And this is our core in the middle. And as our core in the middle, what are the supporting functions that we are looking at surrounding this business? And those supporting functions, then we can then start building the processes in this particular functions.
Yeah.
Is there something, do you have like a manual, a procedure manual? Is there something at the moment in the business?
No, not quite. Not quite.
Is it?
So I find this very helpful.
So is it like a common sense? Common sense says, when you come here, go here.
Yes. Yes. I think what helps me a lot is people who know what they have to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was about to say the problem that he's facing is that the pharmaceutical space, it's built around quality management.
Yeah.
So if you employ people that come from working from the pharmacy, they follow that because of they are working with scheduled medication, and that they need to operate in a quality ISO way, and that. And when you employ them, they come into your business. They sort of give you a false sense of systems being present in your business. Meanwhile, it's not the systems in the business, it's the people in the business who are following systems.
Because I think my sense is, obviously there's a dispensary which talks to qualified professionals. And then there's a front shop, which is a retail. which, the principles of a retail shop works. And the people who are working there are not necessarily pharmacists or trained. And you find that, shrinkage, there you won't be able to pick up. I mean, I was going to actually ask you, right now, are you able to log into any of the shops and see what's happening inside? Because technology then comes in. So once you have the manual that he's talking about, the processes, then systems comes in, your cash out system, stock system, software rather, where you are able to follow on your phone or tablet or laptop to follow how much stock is in this place, how much stock is in that place, how much stock is in that. Real time on your phone. How much is in the kitty, real time on your phone. You are able to then also, log in and see camera, real time, what's happening in all these 4 stores. So you are here now, but you are then able to check, and see, what's happening, activities in those. And I think those are the systems over and above the processes, the manual. Those are the technology systems that you need to introduce so that you are then able to run this business anywhere, or you're able to do a high level recon to say stock is so much, cash is so much. This is not reconciling, and then you are then able to start monitoring it closely. Because it might be that you are making money now and you're happy, but actually you could be making more, but because there's shrinkage that's taking place in the business, you are unable to see. I mean, I'll share a story, quick story. This guy, we're talking about systems, Command, and he says he runs a nightclub. So it's a completely different example to pharmacy, right? So he runs a nightclub. He says to the guys, here's a target, reach the target, you get paid a bonus. So 90,000 in a weekend, I give you a bonus. So what these guys then do is they then have a, like a swiping machine. So when patrons don't have cash, they swipe, right? But then what will happen is if the machine is broken for whatever reason, obviously the patrons can't swipe. So then he's got this card with the logo of the business and the numbers. Then the patrons will do a cash send or e-wallet or whatever. But then what these guys would do, right, is they will then register their own, not even register, they'll get a SIM card. Replicate the card with the logo and the number, but this is their number. Come weekend, they reach 90,000. That's the target. Suddenly, the swiping machine doesn't work. Right? Not that it doesn't work. Now the patrons have to send the E1. They take out the card with their SIM card. And they say, send here. The owner is happy. The guys,
because he's making his money.
The guys are reaching the target. I'm giving the bonus, right? But he only picked it up 2 or 3 years later that these guys were actually, scamming the system in such a way. And he picked it up because his friend went and then sent the e-wallet and actually realized that I actually sent this e-wallet to a number that the owner doesn't know. Right? Lost about 200 and something thousand in that period, in that 3 years. It's quite a lot. So sometimes it might be that yes, you are hitting the numbers and you are happy, but you actually realize there's actually more. You could be doing more, but because you don't have proper systems, you are unable to pick it up. And it might go for a long time. Because you sometimes wonder, why are these people loyal? They're not going anywhere, they're not taking leave. They are loyal. And you don't know that they're actually running their own pharmacy. They're running their own pharmacy within your pharmacy.
They're business owners.
Yes.
They can't go anywhere.
They can't go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think the systems and processes will help you to pick up those things. Of course, they'll always find ways around, but this is where you then do mystery shopping. You say you send people to go there and try to negotiate and let's see. Matlanyane. This thing is expensive.
That's very popular in
Matlanyane, right? It's your guys. They are testing the system. So it's critical. Is it? Yeah, you see? Yeah. And now you can imagine if it's 5 or 6 pharmacies, and it's like what Dr. Lumbe was saying. It's as if you are expanding a problem.
Yeah.
But
I have to echo what Rasha said in terms of tech, being able to plug those holes.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you look at it from a data perspective, if you have a system in place, it's able to detect the fraud even before it gets completely out of hand, and who's behind the fraud so that you can fire them immediately, right? And so tech, I think, plays a crucial role in this expansion. But I have to also just take a bit of a step back and congratulate you on the achievements so far. I think for me what stands out is your level of self-awareness to say, yes, I am doing well, but I need help, right? I love that. I love that level of self-awareness. So congratulations on what you've achieved to date and also your self-awareness. Now, you are in that very fragile space of growth. And so this can make or break your business. Where you are right now is so fragile that it can make or break your business, right? And so I think, yes, taking a step back and saying, do I, Kenny, want to continue working in the business, or do I want to transition to working on the business? And I think this is crucial for where you are right now. And how you transition from working in the business to working on the business is, I think, possibly what I would recommend as maybe one of the first next steps would be to appoint some key people. So if we look at Mark Zuckerberg in his early 20s, launching Facebook, and it's doing well and it's taking off, but he knows that he doesn't have the capability to take it to that next level. He doesn't have the capacity. So what does he do? He appoints Sheryl Sandberg as his COO, right? A Harvard graduate, to come in and to help him formalize Facebook. And so he didn't have to put the SOP together. He didn't have to put the processes and systems in place, right? He got a person that did all of that for him because she knows it like the back of her hand, right? And so I would recommend that maybe the first next step is for you to look at, from a financial perspective, can I appoint a COO? Can I appoint a CMO, a Chief Marketing Officer, who's going to take care of the branding and is going to take care and make sure that, because I love the fact that your daughter has a degree in marketing, but she probably doesn't have the experience, right, to take it to that next level, especially from a shopfront branding, becoming a discount, and then from there, right now you have an existing database of emails, of numbers of your existing customers that you can already use, right, to push your shopfront products to on WhatsApp, on just so many different ways that you can do that. So I think for me, the first next step possibly should be looking at your finances, sitting yourself down and asking the crucial question, can I appoint a Chief Operating Officer right now who's going to make things easier for me so that they assist me and they journey with me? And this person obviously needs to be way better at this than you are, right? And maybe they have a franchise background as well. Can I afford that person right now? And it might not be at a director level. It could be at a manager level, right? So an operations manager who's going to journey with you to look at everything that we're throwing at you today. And so the only thing you then need to do So again, it's that transition from working in the business to working on the business. The only thing you then have to do is to liaise with that person to make sure that they have put in the processes from HR to finances to marketing, right? So I think for me, that's probably a crucial next step. An operations person. So if you can afford a director, amazing. If not, a manager.
But I think also, even if it's just not consultants,
Yeah.
but you need help. I think the message is you're gonna need someone to come in. If the numbers don't add up, a consultancy person, a month, 2 months,
a contract,
contract of some sort. Yeah, but you are gonna need someone.
Absolutely. So you need to start recruiting for key roles, and in this space, even if it is taking a long-term view and saying, I'm willing to give you equity. So I might not be able to pay you a director's salary right now, but here's the vision, here's the values, right? So I'm willing to give you equity to come on board, but I can only
buy
pay
into
you.
that.
Exactly, right? So have those kind of conversations as well. So I think you need to start recruiting some key roles so that it's not so much on you. And then I think, just to echo what Dr. Maloya said, is especially around your HR processes, there's the recruitment element to it, right? And again, this person that's going to come in and journey with you has to focus on, from a recruitment perspective, it might fall into HR, but your recruitment, so that you don't end up with a revolving door, right? Your recruitment process is crucial. And that recruitment process is not only for your employees, but it's for your clients, it's for your suppliers. Making sure that anyone that comes on board, and this is the other thing that's important for me, is your value proposition. And they have to share that value proposition, right? So make sure that from a branding perspective, I love what Dr. Maloya said. From a branding perspective, though, your value proposition needs to be strong. And you can decide now what that value proposition is, right? Is it quality? Then everything needs to be quality. From your employees to your suppliers to everyone that needs to gravitate towards the quality aspect of it. If it's cost effective, like ShopRite is only about cost effectiveness. They don't care about customer service, right? So if it's cost effective, if that's your value proposition, then everything needs to speak to that. So from a branding perspective, the only thing that I'll add is that your value proposition needs to be very strong. And so that then means that when you are recruiting employees, suppliers, clients, whatever, partners, possible partners, these key roles that you have to appoint, those people need to share those values. Right?
So
I
are
think
you a
for me-
Woolworths?
Yeah.
Are you a ShopRite?
Yeah.
You know ShopRite, when you go to ShopRite, Commander, your card declines. Yeah, decline. Yeah, man. Everybody, yes.
They don't say
No.
The lady says to you, sir, I think there's a problem with the card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quietly.
Yeah.
There's a problem with the
No,
card.
Woolworths, you get called by the
I'm not challenged.
by the white lady, counter number 3. Have your Woolworths card and my school card. That's Woolworths,
It's
right?
quality.
So
right?
you need
Quality
to
is
decide
quality.
where do you play in the industry? Are you a Woolworths or are you a ShopRite user?
Yeah, and again, from a branding perspective, if we just look at two of our local examples, which is Dis-Chem and Clicks. Right? Clicks is pay more for less, or pay less for more.
Yeah.
Pay less for more, I think.
Yeah.
Pay less for more, right? That's it. That's their value proposition. And so I know when I'm going to go to Clicks, I'm probably going to get 3 for 2 or buy one and get one free because it is pay more, pay less for more, right? So
That's so important.
your value proposition needs to be that strong. And here's the thing with your value proposition. When it is that strong, here's what's going to happen. Anyone that supplies you has to speak to that value proposition. They also have to have bought into cost effectiveness, or if your value proposition is like
Quality.
Woolies and it's quality, then everything needs to be at that level, right? Your employees have to be at that level. Every single thing.
Pharmacies,
Everything needs to be centered around your value
branding,
proposition.
the packaging.
Yeah. Right? And then, so with Woolies, we don't mind because we know I'm going to get quality. If I'm buying that rotisserie chicken, I know that it's going to be cooked and it's going to be quality. So I don't mind paying whatever they charge for it, right? But if I gravitate more towards
Price
cost
conscious,
effectiveness,
yeah.
if I'm more price conscious, then obviously ShopRite. But then I know that I might get the girl. And the thing is, I shared this in Soweto, I think 2 weeks ago, that when I lived in Uganda and I went to that ShopRite, I got the exact same treatment.
Yes.
And I was like, what?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
This is the same girl from back
Yes.
home. Right? And so for them, their value proposition is not customer service.
I think what you are saying, Anto, the importance of it is it's exactly to say, when you have done this that I spoke about, your operations manual and everything and that, and your value proposition shows in there, it then builds a corporate culture.
Yeah.
And once that corporate culture is then defined, it means when you employ people that are a fit to the corporate culture. Exactly. So what Anto is saying now, that I went to Uganda to ShopRite and I met Pinky from South Africa. Right?
Exactly.
I met Pinky because it is the corporate culture. It's not the people, it is the corporate culture. So even when we sit down and we hire in HR, we know exactly what type of a person are we looking for. So with that, this comes out like this. You ask yourself the same thing. We're talking about technology and everything in the store. The issue of loyalty cards. A lot of people don't understand what loyalty cards are used for in shops. Look, loyalty cards are the most important security because every single thing that you sold in your shop will be registered in your cash register. Nobody can run a transaction. You know that once they run the loyalty card, it says there's a transaction that took place. And that transaction has to be married to that. As a client, when I come to pay, nobody can say to me, can I make a plan for you? Because I want my loyalty points. And if I want to swipe my card. And immediately I swipe my loyalty card, and that it means it's a transaction that so it works for that as well. It works for what? It works also for marketing purposes. Right? It works for marketing purposes because you start understanding who are the people that come to your store? What job do they do? Because when they register their loyalty program, they're registering certain information that tells you who these people are. But the third thing is that it's now telling you even what products should you be talking to. Now it goes back and helps Chemmed. When you start your distribution and you are talking to suppliers, you already have got information, and I come in and say, oh, I'm selling this, can you distribute? And you look at it and say, it won't work in our market. Because already my loyalty program has told me what is it that our people are buying, and what you are selling, they don't buy such. So using technology to grow a business, it's exactly about that. And these systems are initially, you may look at the cost of such a system and think, oh no, it's too much money, I'm not going to afford. But the problem is that, are you going to afford not having it?
Exactly.
And that's the thing with setting up systems. People come every time and they say to me, no, Doc, but setting up a quality management system is too expensive. Then I say, do you know how expensive it is trying to run your business without one?
Okay. I hope we're not overwhelming you.
No, not really.
Okay. I think from a numbers point of view, Kenny, it's also important when you are setting up your systems. You obviously have to set up your financial system as well, and a point of sale system comes to mind. I don't know how you are doing it. I'm assuming you have some form of a point of sale. But I think also taking it a step further to be able to run some reports at the end of each day as part of your cashing up systems, right? Or processes rather. As part of your cashing up processes, you are able to have a cash up process, which will then be able to tell you how much each of the stores have made every day, which then tallies up to a cash book. But I like the fact that you have an understanding of your break even, to sort of say if we have 50 customers, right, then we're able to, we are sort of making, but you need to then also be able to run your management reports every month, right? And if we are on a journey with you longer, we are going to need those reports. Yeah. We may not necessarily divulge the numbers, but we need to see those reports. You need to see those reports. Because I always say that as an entrepreneur, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. Because ultimately, business is a numbers game. So management reports every month, and you don't have to do it manually. That's the other thing. Software, software. You are then able to also, your POS system needs to also be linked to your phone, where you are able to monitor sales, of all the shops on your phone. There's an app. You are able to see, right now where you're sitting, you are able to see the store in Francistown.
Has done so much.
How much money has done, today. And the store in Game City, it's able to give you that breakdown of how much each store is making, and it's able to consolidate it as well, right? On your phone, right? Which is something that you then know, and it can also give you month to day, like after 4 days, this is how much you're sitting. You are then able to sort of say, by the second week, by the end of the second week, I should be here at this level. And by the third week, month end, then we are there. So the management reports, POS system linked to your phone, critical. But also have a budget for the business, sort of like projections for the next year. So we're then able to work towards a goal. Where we are able to have a goal. And I think also linked to your break even is your store targets. Right? So each store, they need to have their targets, right? So that you are then able to, based on the target, if they reach that target, or when they reach that target, you're then able to compensate them as a performance bonus. But you know that by reaching that target, you would have made so much profit, which would have covered their salaries, the rent, the stock, blah, blah, blah. And there's so much left.
If I may add to that, Raj, and the beauty of that is when you have that monthly target, when you get to week 2 and you haven't reached your weekly target, week 3 then, from a marketing perspective, needs to go hard,
to the store,
right? And then it's buy 3, get 1 free, or buy 2 and get 1 free. Promotions, catalogs need to go out so that you don't get to the end of the month and you're not breaking even.
It also allows you, from the HR perspective, to understand exactly where you need training in terms of the staff. I need perhaps to train the staff here. I've got perhaps lazy people in that store. You start getting those. If I shift people around, does it improve?
Yes, I was gonna say, you then are able to take a super performing store, take the staff there, take them to a store that's not performing, and see how that store performs. So if that store then picks up, then it means there's a staff that's there, right? So those numbers will tell you, and I always say, whether you make a profit or a loss at the end of the month should not come as a surprise.
And it never does. If you think about it.
It shouldn't. It should be like this year, this month we are behind by. And it also gives you time to your point, to put mitigations before the end of the month, to say, guys, if we don't pull up ourselves in the next socks.
It's going to be tough.
It's okay.
In the next two weeks, it's going to be tough. and that then talks to your budget. So you have those goals per store, and because sometimes those goals also become motivation for the staff to sort of say, if I hit this number, I might get extra little, or it might go towards my bonus at the end of the year, and so those numbers are important, because most of the time we run businesses because we are passionate. I am passionate, and I'm passionate. Sure, but a business is far more than a passion. If you say you're running this as a business, you need to have targets that you're working towards. And I like what Anto is saying also, beef up. Because if the business is growing, you're going to have a recruiting strategy that works. And not have these people come and go. So I think, it's quite a lot. But I think the message that's coming out is documentation, have a quality or process manual, documented, clarify your value proposition. Which are you a Woolworths, are you a ShopRite? And there's nothing wrong with being a ShopRite. There's nothing wrong. ShopRite is making, it's making money the way they're making it. There's a market for that. So you might also find that with you, because there's Pakalani as well, and Pakalani is quite a sort of like an elite golf estate. You might also want to have a different brand for that. Like within the ShopRite Checkers group, there's different brands. So there's Hyper, which is a Santon, and then there is Usave, but they are same group, but the branding is different. The value proposition is different. So start thinking about that. Don't try and say, I want to be a Woolworths here and then a Woolworths there with a high price. You're going to confuse your market. Right. So the branding, value proposition is important. And I think for me, having softwares is critical for the business in terms of the physical, what's happening, but also stock management software linked to your phone. You are able to see how much stock is left at which shop, and also cash in the till. As they are ringing up there, you are able to see here on your phone, and you're able to even see a consolidated amount. And budgets as well. So I think it's quite a lot. For me, in the next session, what I would love to see is, to Dr. Mle's point, do you have a skeleton in terms of, some progress in terms of documenting this? If you have someone that's helping you, because you are in it. So you need someone that's helping you. Outside, who's going to, focus on doing this. That would be great. And some form of financial software, or I understand that it might be a costly exercise. You might want to shop around for the ones that work for you, do so. But in the next session, it will be great to see. I've spoken to 3 service providers. I like this one because of 1, 2, 3 when we're discussing, and I should be procuring. That will be a win for me. Anything?
No, thank you so much. What has been said, it's very important. It's giving me the confidence, and it instills hope. And what is important for me is having people to speak to. That is important. You used to have your own board meeting alone. Exactly. You're working there. You're talking to yourself. People are thinking, he's gone crazy. Isn't a board meeting? They don't understand that you're in a board meeting. 4 a.m. every day I'm awake and thinking, visualizing, planning the day. It's too much. Sometimes problems that I cannot solve, but at least if you have someone to speak to, that is so helpful. I just want to speak to what Dr. Moloi mentioned, the the quality issues I saw. In the pharmacy space, I believe that is taken care of by, I think we've got regulatory bodies. Like here, I think there's SAPRA here, we've got BOMRA that side. So they're very stringent. If it means closing you down, they close you down. So they look into all quality issues. They do scheduled inspections and unannounced inspections. So they do all those things. I thought I should mention it, but there's a lot that I've picked. So I've noted all these important points, and I'm looking forward to the next session. I promise in the next session, a lot of this would be either implemented or half implemented, but there'll be something.
Yeah.
There'll be something.
Look, I think you are sitting at a position, Kenny, where you can actually have 10, 15, pharmacies in gaps. What I'm saying is you can double where you are now, but obviously we need to have solidify the foundation. And you will see even yourself that scaling then becomes easier when you're coming from a position of strength. It becomes easier. But you are also able to build a business that can run without you. Because I think that's the goal. Can this then run without you? Can we have a CEO, actually, to Dr. May's point, to Anto's point, where you render yourself unemployed. So you've got a CEO, you become the chairperson, and they report to you. And you give them goals, targets that they need to go chase, and then you give them a budget, and off they go. Come the year end or every 6 months, every quarter, in the board meetings, they report to you. You're a serial entrepreneur, so I'm definitely sure there'll be other things coming. But when you do get those other things coming, at least make sure that this is able to run without you. Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah.
I am too.
Thank you so much. I hope we'll see you soon.
So much for the time.
Yeah.
And the advice. I appreciate it. It was worth it coming here.
Yeah.